grade to sixth grade at that school, and we only had one teacher in the classroom, and she taught from one to sixth grade. Uh huh. And taught us how to read, taught us how to, crochet. But we had the little English and then the math, and the little geography or whatever it was at that time. Uh huh. And your mother have to tell you about the little crocheting. That's making little scarves and little dollars got to go on a table when you set a lamp. And so that was interesting for me too. We had to walk to school though. We did not have a school bus to take us to school from first to sixth grade. We walked to school. And sometimes we would walk all the way around the road where the cars, and trucks would be at. And then sometimes we would walk through the woods. Walk through the woods from my house, from my house down to my grandmother's house, which was my dad's mother. And then we walked up through the woods, to school. So it was okay. It was okay. We enjoyed doing that. But when it came time to go from 7th grade to 12th grade to school, we rode the school bus then. So we really enjoyed riding that school bus.
Anyways, did you have recess? But did you have recess?
You mean from first to sixth grade? Yes, we had recess. I guess the teacher probably let us off about 30 minutes. We had about 30 minutes. And at that time, we had to take bag lunches to school. Mom would fix our little jelly sandwiches or apples. I'll put an apple in there. And maybe we would have something like a little Vienna sausages. Now, you may have to have your mother explain that Vienna sausage to you that came in a little can. So, yes, we had about 30 minutes for lunch, and we would go outside and either sit or sometimes, play ball. Play, little baseball or softball. The girls and the boys played outside. But we couldn't do too much out there because in 30 minutes you can't do a whole lot. I just sit under the shade tree, so that was nice. Enjoyed that. We enjoyed that.
Anyways, what kind of clothes did you wear at school?
Well, I tell you now, because we had to walk to school in the wintertime. We had socks and boots on. We had boots. And then naturally we wore our jeans or pants to school, and then put a dress on top of those pants, and then had a coat on over that, so that we could stay warm, because as I see, we were walking outside. So we had a coat on, a dress on, pants, and socks and boots. So, we wore normal clothes. One thing I have to say, our parents dressed us very well. They dressed us very well.
What were your teachers like?
Okay, what did my teacher look like?
What were your teachers like?
My teachers, okay, well, like I said, from first to sixth grade, I only had one teacher. And she was very knowledgeable, a settled lady. When I mean settled lady, I guess she was around 50-some years old, 50, 60 years old. And, she was, like I said, she was knowledgeable, but she was very strict. She may have first grade sitting in one section, second grade on section, third all up to sixth grade. We sit in sections in that one room. And then she would tell us I'll just say Monday through Thursday. We would have to get our little lessons like the math, arithmetic, or whatever, or geography and all that. But then on a Friday, she would tell us stories. Different types of stories, and we enjoyed listening to those stories on Friday. We didn't have to do too much lesson on Friday. We would listen to her tell us stories. Now, when I got from 7th grade, I'll say 7th grade to 10th grade, but then you had several teachers, because you had to pass from one room to the next room. One teacher may teach English, the other one may teach history, different things, science and all that when you got up to high school. So those teachers, was different in their own ways, but when I was in school, most of the teachers, they were very strict. They are not like the teachers as today. They were very strict, and you learned, the things that we had to learn at that time. Learn, we sure did. And well, I must say, I enjoyed my time there, but I was, happy as well to get out of school too. I enjoyed school when I was in it, but I was happy to be out of school. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what was discipline like?
What was what now?
Discipline.
Discipline? Okay. Now, I remember when I was in the 8th grade, I'm going to say the 7th grade, the bus that we rode, that picked us up to school and then bring us back home, that bus had to make 2 rounds, of loads. They would take the children that lived downtown in the vicinity of the school, they would take them home first. And then, we had maybe about 15 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes before the bus would come back up to the school and pick up his second load of children. Okay, but during that time, like I said, we had about 15 minutes or so. I know once I left the campus and I went across the road, there was a little store across the road from the school, that sold the goodies, the candy, the chips, the potato chips, and things of that nature. And I went over there, me and another young lady. We left the campus and went to that store and got us some candy and stuff. And before we could get back to the school, our bus had come and picked up the other children and left us. So this young lady and I, we had to walk home on the highway. We had to walk home. So naturally, our parents was upset about that and told, the assistant principal at the school about it. So we could not go back, over to the little store that was across the road from the school. So what that teacher did to punish us or discipline us, they would have you come up in front of the class, and they had this paddle board. It was a paddle board, I'm not sure how that thing was made now, but it was flat, had a little handle on it, and maybe about a little bit longer than your hand, past your wrist there. And they would take that paddleboard and wallop your hand maybe about 4 or 5 times as hard as they possibly could in front of the class. They didn't bring you in the office to do that. They did that to you in front of the class to shame you. So whatever you did, you would not do that anymore. And sometimes well, that's the way my discipline was. But with some of the students, I heard that they paddled them on their butt behind, with that paddle board. But mine was, had to stretch your hand out and they would hit you in your hand as hard as they could, at least 3 or 4 times. So you didn't make that mistake anymore. So that happened to me one time. One time was enough for me. And I did not do it anymore. I did not do it anymore.
Anyways, did you guys have PE?
Yes, we did. We had to dress out in what they call the little gym suits at that time. It was just one piece, just like a little onesie for a baby. You put the baby in it, and you snap it right underneath them. Well, our gym suit was made just like that, one piece. And I think we had our PE classes, I believe on a Friday. I don't think it was every day during the week. May have been a week. We could have had it maybe twice a week. I'm not sure. But I'm thinking maybe a Wednesday or Friday. And, we got a chance to dress out and get our little gym outfit. And then we go in the gym, And I don't know if she would have us do exercises. I can't remember that well now. Maybe play a little basketball. And sometimes we would, get together and she may have us learn some little dance steps and things in there, in the gym, inside the gym. So yes, we had PE. That was entertaining, refreshing. And then after that, we had to all girls. We had to hit the showers, just like the boys. We had to hit the showers and put our clothes back on so we could, be ready to attend our next class. Go to the next class. So it was once or twice a week. So it was interesting. It was interesting.
Anyways, final question.
Mhm.
Were there any after school activities?
Was there any after school activities?
That's the question.
Okay, right. Okay, see, sometimes, so after school, we had to practice in the band because when I first got in the band, this was during the day, the normal hour, normal school hours. I was trying to learn to play a clarinet, but I could never play that clarinet. So the band director had a group of girls try out for majorette, and I made the team for the majorette. So sometimes after school, the band have to practice after school, and then let me see. I think that's the only activity that I participated. But then when they had this May Day event, I believe that was, I don't know if that may have been after school too. It's something called a maypole. And we played baseball. Well, I played baseball and softball. Softball, the girls had a softball team. And then this maypole thing, it was like long strips of ribbon attached to it. And we had to go around that maypole, and wrap that ribbon around there or braid that ribbon around that maypole. So I think those events was after school. Those are the only two events that I can think about that I participated in after school. Practicing in the band and then playing softball. And wrapping this ribbon, whatever type of material they had around that maypole, wrapping that material around the maypole. So that's about all I did.
That's all. Bye.
Okay, sweetie. Okay, I hope I helped you some.
Oh, thank you. It helped a lot.
Okay, all right. And I haven't forgot that birthday. All of you all's birthday gifts is gonna come next month. Mid-May.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
You